Hi everyone, Emily here. Today I'm going to make a turtle, a crochet turtle, and I wanted to share it with you. So I am going to make it with this beautiful green and this blue. This is grenadine, excuse me. And this one is light periwinkle. And I think they're both beautiful and they're going to go together really well. I'm going to make the shell the blue and the body the green. So I'm going to go ahead and start by just pulling out some of my yarn. My crochet hook is going to be an H. I believe this calls for a 5.5. However, I'm going to use this H hook. You know, I don't even know what an H is. I'm going to have to look it up. I think it feels like a 4.5 or 4. And I just want to get some of this yarn out. Oh, here's the end. I don't want it to cause me problems. So pull it out this way. And I'm going to go ahead and start. Now I'm going to start with a magic circle. If you don't know how to do a magic circle, or you prefer not to use one, you can always chain 4 and then slip stitch into the very first stitch and you will have a circle. So I'm going to take my yarn and I'm going to wrap it around my finger. I'm holding the end there. I'm going to hold it like that. I'm going to slip my hook underneath. Okay, let me do it again. I went like this, I took it and I'm crossing it over right here. I'm going to go underneath the bottom. I'm going to grab the other strand, I'm going to bring it through, and I'm going to take my finger out, and that's where I'm going to crochet in. So I'm going to grab it, and I'm going to chain 1. Now I have my string. I'm going to crochet over both strands of this yarn, and I'm going to do a total of 6 single crochets. It's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I'm going to pull it a little tight. I still have a little bit of a hole there, and I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to go under 2 strands of yarn under that 6th, and when under 2 strands, I'm going to grab my yarn and bring it through both of them, and I'm going to stop. I have 2 strands, and I'm going to do a single crochet. So now I'm going to need to put a stitch marker there. And you can use a stitch marker. Since I'm sitting here, I don't have one right here next to me. I'm going to use this little tiny paper clip. And I'm going to put it right underneath that stitch I just did. So I know that's my first stitch for the next round. Now that I have that done, I'm going to pull this and close that hole up. So that hole is closed. Now I'm going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch. So I'm going to go into that same single crochet, or that same stitch, and I'm going to do a single crochet. So now I have 2 here, and I'm going to do 2 in each stitch all the way around. So I did have 6 from the previous round. So now when I get to the end, I will have a total of 12. I don't have a pattern for this. I kind of just wing it as I go. Okay, so you can see, you can pull this again. You can see how that's nice and flat. I'm going to go ahead, I like to take this piece of yarn right here and tie a knot. It's just like I'm just tying a knot around it, and I'm going to pull it tight. And my hope is that it won't come undone, so it won't go back in there. So now I don't worry about it coming loose. Okay, so now this next stitch is the first one for the next row. I'll take that off. And I'm going to do 1 single crochet here, and I'm going to put this back on in that first stitch. Now the last row was 2 in every stitch. This one is going to be 1 single crochet, 2 in the next, 1 single crochet, 2 in the next, and that's going to be our pattern all the way around. Alrighty, pull some more yarn out here. I feel like I don't have enough light, so I moved my light a little bit. Hopefully that will help. Okay, so I'm going to take this out. Now our next row, our pattern is going to be 1, 2 single crochets, and then 2 in the next stitch. So I did 2, so I'm going to go 1, 2, and go back. Put my marker there. So I have 1, 2, and then I'm going to do 2 in this stitch. I'm going to do a single there, single in the next, 2 in the next. And of course, if you used a smaller hook, and you definitely could, your turtle would just be smaller than mine, because if you use smaller hooks, your items will be smaller, and if you use a bigger hook, your items will be bigger. Well, you know, sometimes they might not be bigger. Your stitches will be looser. And I'm going to end off here with 2. Now, this is the top of my turtle. So I think that that's how big I want my turtle to be. Okay, that's how big I want the top to be. So I'm ready to just go around with single crochets. So I'm going to do 1 single crochet, put my stitch marker back in. And this is where you could just keep going. It's going to start like curving in a little bit, and so you can decide how high you want this to be on your turtle. And to tell you the truth, I'm not sure how many rounds I'm going to do. So I'm going to crochet until I get happy with it, and then I will be back. You can see it's already starting to turn a little bit. Alrighty, I went around twice. Got me a proper stitch marker. And so I went around twice, and I'm here, and look at how it's kind of curving. I really like that look. So now I want my shell to kind of go out a bit, and I'm going to do 1, 2 single crochets, and I'm going to do 2 in the next stitch. So that's going to be what we're going to do all the way around. And that's kind of like going to make it flatten out on the edges a little bit. Not too drastic. I really like this color. Now, just, put it down and look at it. I think it looks pretty good. It's starting to lay a little flat. So I'm going to go around and do the same thing one more time, because I do believe that that's really going to help it lay down. Put my stitch marker in. Isn't crocheting just so relaxing? Even if you're not crocheting and just watching, I find that relaxing also. Here at the end, looky there. I'm going to stuff it so that will stand up. I like the way that looks. Looky there. So his legs are going to be protruding out the sides. And you know, I think I want to do one more round just because I want him to be just a little bit bigger. So I'm going to do the same pattern again. I'm going to do 2 single crochets. One in there, one in the next, and 2 in the next. So we're going to do that pattern all the way around. Alright, I'm at the end and it's laying down really well. Look at that. That's exactly what I wanted. So I am going to go ahead and do a slip stitch into that last stitch. I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm just going to go ahead and cut it off. You pull it all the way through. And what I like to do is take the yarn and tie a knot here. And I like to push it down to the bottom and pull it tight. And I'm just going to pull it through to the back. You know what? Let's see here. I think I'm going to take it in the back and pull it through back there. There we go. It looks a little bit better. Okay, so I have a nice little hump, have a nice little overhang for his legs, so I'm pretty happy with that. So let's work on the rest of him. Let's get a little bit of this green out. Not a little bit, let's just pull it out. Middle here. Sorry, I have something new to hold the camera because I know it was shaking a lot, so I got something new and I don't really know if I like it. It bolts to the table. Just not happy. I'm just not happy with it. Okay. So I'm going to take this and I think I'm just going to go ahead and make 4 legs first. So you can, of course, like I said, chain 4, but I'm going to do a magic circle. I'm going to cross it. I'm going to go under the first one, pull that back one up, and you have your magic circle. Now I'm going to crochet around those 2 strands. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to do 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you can take this string now, pull it. I don't pull it completely closed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because I find it easier to see where that 6th stitch is. I went under 2 strands. I'm going to pull it through. That's my slip stitch. I'm going to pull it tight. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to go into that same stitch, and I'm going to do a single crochet, and now I am just going to do 2 in each stitch all the way around. Now where you did that, you have one single crochet here, and there's that chain 1. I'm just going to go back in there, that same opening, and do another single crochet, and I'm going to pull this tight. And I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to tie a knot like I did with the other piece. And I'm just going to wrap it around, tie a knot, and I'm going to push that knot straight down so that it's close. And then I don't worry about it coming undone. So I went in and did that single crochet in the same opening as the chain 1 in that 1 single crochet. Now I'm going to go right up into that first single crochet, and I'm just going to start crocheting around. I'm going to do a single crochet all the way around. Now you noticed I did not put a stitch marker in. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to keep going around with single crochets until my leg gets long enough, and then I'm going to end it. And if you want long legs, you can have long legs. You want little stubby legs, you can have little stubby legs. You decide how long you want your legs. Now when I get done, I'm going to count how many rows, and I'll tell you how many I did. I find this easier for me because I don't like to stop and change that stitch marker all the time. I'm not going to cut that end off. I'm just going to bury it in his leg. You know, this piece is really nice size. So I'm going to do 4 of these. And I think I'm not going to stuff them. I'm going to make them flat. I'm going to put them under his little body like this. I'll probably sew it together like right here, so I can put the end right here where I'm going to, and see how far his leg is going to stick out. And I gotta say, I kind of think that might be the perfect width for me, or the perfect length for legs, but I might just do a little bit more. Okay. Now I'm looking here, seeing where I went into that stitch. You can see it. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more, and then I'll be at the end. I just didn't want to move my stitch marker. You certainly can. Okay. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, and now I'm just going to end it off. I'm going to do a slip stitch, chain 1, and pull it tight. Now I'm going to leave some yarn because I'm going to sew my legs on. So I'm leaving yarn to sew my leg on. And I'm going to pull this underneath 2 strands of the next stitch on the inside. There we go. So I have 1, and I'm going to make 3 more the exact same way that I made this one. So when I get those done, I will be back. Alrighty, so I did crochet a total of 4 of the little legs, and I also crocheted 1. I just added 3 extra rows, and I put a couple eyeballs. You could put buttons there if you'd like. You could sew it with yarn if you'd like. I happen to have these little eyes that have the plastic on the back, and it secures them in there, and that makes it really easy. So I have my legs, and I'm not stuffing any of these. I am just going to put them underneath, and I'm going to sew them on. And I'll sew these legs on here. I have a needle here. I left yarn so that I could sew these on, and I'm going to sew them right along this edge. So you have 1 row here. I'm going to go right into the 2nd row, and I'm going to sew all these little guys on. And like I said, I am not going to stuff them. So I have a needle here. You could use your crochet hook if you don't have a needle, and pull your yarn through. So I'm just going to fold it so that I'm going to fold it to where I tied it, and I'm just going to stick it all the way through. I'm going to decide where I want this to go. So right here, it looks like you can tell where I started and ended it. So I'm going to make that the tail. I'm just going to put it right here. And I'm going to go right, I'm so sorry, I keep going off. Okay, I'm going to go right in around one of those stitches, and I'm going to go under part on the bottom and 2 on the top. And I'm going to pull it tight. And I'm just going to go to the next one. I'm going around a whole stitch and go under and through to the other side. And that's how easy it is to just sew these little legs on. You can even go down through here if you wanted to. However you want to sew them in. Do it your own way. Cat hair is free here. And I'm just going to run it through. Let's see how that looks. That leg looks awesome. So I'm just going to tie a knot. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap it around here like this. Around, I went down to the one below. You could go into the same one. I'm just going to put the yarn through. And I'm going to pull it tight. So you see I still have my ring there. I'm going to go through it again and pull it tight. That's all it takes. Now I'm going to leave this tail pretty long, and when I stuff it, I will just leave them all right there in the middle. Okay, so now I'm just going to go on to the next one, and I'm going to sew them all on, and I'm going to take the head and I'll sew it on here, and then with the green we will crochet the bottom. Alrighty, well, I sewed its legs and its head on. I left enough room right here for a little tail. But let's go ahead and work on his undercarriage. So you can see here I sewed on all the legs. I made the head a little bit too long. So I sewed him lower so that his head could be where I wanted it. You do that with the legs too. And when I sewed it on, I just went through the top of the stitches so it didn't go all the way through, so you wouldn't see it on this side. But I think he looks really cute. Wouldn't that just be a cute little rug? It's just cute. And you can see it's not real big because it fits in my hand. But I think it's adorable. So let's go ahead and do the bottom. I think, I was going to do the bottom in green, but maybe I better do it in blue. Just because it will match the top, and then it will look like, a turtle when they take their little body inside. I am going to use my 5.5 for the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and do another magic circle. I hope the light is better. Oh, I'm just having a heck of a time on this one video. I'm so sorry. I'm going to chain 1. And I'm going to do 6 single crochets in the circle. And I'm going over both those strands. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, and 6. We're going to pull it tight, and I'm going to go into the top of your first single crochet, and I'm going to do 2 single crochets in that opening. I'm going to grab my stitch marker, 1, 2, because I put 2 in there. And also, if you don't want to use your stitch marker and your counter, you're going to do 12 stitches in this round. The next rounds, I don't know. I think I sound smart, but there's 12 in this one. Okay. Take this off. Now we're going to do 1 single crochet. I'm going to stick my marker on there. You're going to do 2 in the next. Then we're going to do 1. And then we're going to do 2. That's going to be our pattern all the way around. So if you made your turtle a little bit bigger than mine, let's say you added a couple of rows, then you're just going to do more of these rows. Because we are just going to crochet here. I'm just going to crochet here until my bottom fits my turtle. And we won't be doing as many rows, because this dips down. So I'm just going to go like this until I see that it comes right here to my legs, and then I will stop and I will sew it and stuff it. I don't know what I would call myself, but I think I'm a creator because I don't use patterns and I just look at a picture and make it. And I think that just makes me a person who doesn't like to follow directions. So I am going to do a pattern now of 2. I have 1 here, single crochet, do another single crochet in the next stitch, and then I'm going to do 2 in the following stitch. And I'm going to do that all the way around. This did not take very much yarn at all, so I'm sure that you could probably do this with your scrap yarn also. Especially if you just wanted to make them different colors and you just didn't care. That would be very pretty too. This row, I'm going to do 1 single crochet and put my stitch marker back on. I am going to do 3 single crochets in those next 3. 1, 2, 3, next 3 stitches, and then we will do 2 in the following stitch. So 1, 2, 3, and then 2 in the same stitch, and that will be our pattern to go all the way around. So this should lay pretty flat. I think I just need to do, maybe 1 more row. I guess I will do 1 more row and see how it looks. Maybe 2. So my next row, I am going to do the same pattern. I'm going to do 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do 3 single crochets and then do 2 in the next. Because it's starting to curl up a little bit, and I just want to make sure it stays flat. And then I'm going to sew on half, maybe 3/4 of this before I stuff it. And it won't take very much stuffing at all. Okay, I think that looks really well. So I'm just going to take my stitch marker off. I'm going to do a slip stitch in there. And I'm going to do a single crochet. I'm going to pull it tight. And I'm going to leave enough yarn for me to sew this on. Okay, now I'm going to find the end and put my needle on. And I'm sure that you can sew this on yourself. I'm just going to actually just go in. I'm going to go through to the other side and back up all the way around. And then before I close it off, I'm going to stuff it with my stuffing. I did get my stuffing at Walmart. It's nothing special. And I'm going to start sewing it together at the tail, since that's where my tail's going to go. And I'm just going to go ahead and bury this right down in here. So you can see right here where I sewed my legs on, it goes all the way around. That's where I'm going to be sewing into. I'm not sewing to the outside, I'm sewing to the inside of that last row. So I'm going to go ahead and go right in between the stitch from before, and that's how I'm going to just sew it up, just like I did the legs. You're going to go right in underneath and come out over here. Of course, don't forget to pick up your bottom part. That would defeat the purpose. And then you're going to go under the underneath one. Keep getting stuck on that leg. And I'm going to come up through here. Go right here. Go behind that stitch. Come up. And going to go into go underneath the next one. So I'm going into the same one that I sewed my legs onto. So just continue to do that all the way around, but before you finish, stop and stuff your turtle, okay? Alrighty, so I am just going to finish stuffing him. I sewed all the way until I had a little bit opening left, and I'm going to stuff him. Okay. See how he looks. He looks extremely cute. He's almost done. And he is super duper cute. So here I'm going to do his tail, and I'm right back to where I started. And so I am going to take my needle off this yarn. I don't think I have enough here to really finish his tail off. We'll have to wait and see. I might have to add some yarn. So I'm just going to go right here in next to where they were joined. I'm going to pull my yarn up, and I'm going to do a chain of 4. Oh, you know what? His tail should be green. So no, I'm not going to do that. I guess I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to tighten a knot, tie it off. I think I'm going to tie a knot here. push it up against there. And then I'm just going to vary it. Yes, his tail should be green. There we go. Nice long tail. Okay, let's get the green yarn. I'm going to go ahead and tie a slip knot. And I'm going to leave a nice, and I'm going to leave a nice tail. Because I'm going to tie this tail onto my turtle. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a chain. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I'm going to turn and I'm going to go right into the very next stitch. Not the one right here that's on the hook, but the very next one. And I'm going to do 2 single crochets in it. Now I'm going to do 2 in the next one. I'm going to go all the way to the end and do 2 single crochets in each stitch. You can see that it's starting to curl a little bit. If you did 3 stitches in each one, you would get quite the curlicue. But I think I'm just going to do 2. Kind of looks like a pigtail. When I come to the last one, I'm just going to go in and do a slip stitch. I'm going to do a single crochet. I'm going to pull it tight, and I'm going to pull it a little bit and cut it so I have enough left to tie this on. Look at that little curlicue. Isn't it cute? Okay, so I'm going to go back here, and I'm just going to tie it right here. So what I like to do when I'm tying something is I'm going to lay it flat, and I'm going to grab this yarn here and bring it through. Then I'm going to go in from the other side and come out, grab the other piece of yarn, and bring it through. So now you have a piece of yarn on each side that you can pull tight. I'm going to bring the tail up, because if I pull it tight and pull it up, when I tie it with the knot underneath, more than likely it's going to keep the tail facing up. We'll see if that works. I did it in regular knot. The second one, I'm going to wrap the yarn around twice and pull it tight. Look at there, the tail did stay up. Now, if your tail doesn't stay up, you can pull your yarn, you can pull your yarn through here and bring that yarn up through here underneath and do another knot and make it more secure. But mine is just, looks like it's doing pretty well, so I'm going to leave it like that. And I'm just going to pull my yarn inside and bury it so you don't see it. That's all you got to do. Okay. Isn't that cute? My turtle is complete. He's just a cute little guy. Now you could sew some things on here. You could do whatever you want to. Isn't he cute? Well, thank you very much for watching. Please give it a try. He didn't take much yarn, and it was really quick. Have a great day, and I'll be back soon. And remember that you are awesome. Bye.